Ba-da-ba-ba. All right. I'll tell you, I had this thing down to be ready to go. I'm not kidding, like 3 minutes ago. Sure enough, I. There's always some reason that I don't start things right on time. It's sort of astonishing, even when I've planned it way ahead. Never, ever works out that way. Doesn't matter, whatever. 3 minutes is not a big deal. So I'm just sending out my links now so that I can have anybody who may join into the stream here. Okay, whoops, wrong account. So many accounts, so little time. Okay, let's stream some Jaws. Okay, okay, now I have to do the link. S. Whack whack. Twitch.tv slash hold on, is it the or is it regular? I don't remember. It is the. Oh, God, I have to type that whole thing out. The ozone nightmare. There we go. Bam. Okay. I can now close that. And I can jump over to my primary account and wait until it shows up and say retweet. And my bases are covered. Okay. Let's get going. Oh, controller. It does help to actually have something to play the game with. All right. Okay. Oh, let me. You know what? I should message Lando just in case his kids seem to like watching me beat up on Jaws. So, streaming a little bit of. Autocorrect is both great and terrible. Streaming a little Jaws. And of course, I didn't bother to. Nope, I sure didn't. You would think that I might have copied that link onto my phone to make it easy so that I didn't again have to type this entire thing out. But no, I'm not that clever. So, okay. Everybody's been notified. Okay, here we go. So, let me get a drink of water. Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, boy. Yeah. Okay. Let's make controller is connected. Everything is up and running. So let's close any extraneous crap that I don't need up. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and start our little intro deal here. Oh, before I forget, I covered everything, right? Yes, I did. Okay. Okay. Let me do my starting soon thing. Here we go. Starting soon. Yeah, look at that. Look at that, huh? I still love the fact that I did that. I mean, I shouldn't really say. I mean, I did. It's interesting to say what you made and didn't make, right? Because I didn't make all the raw parts. I did do that. The background I created each of these elements, but the staticky stuff that's playing that makes it look like it's old school TV. I think I grabbed some of that off of YouTube, and then the wavy water thing. I've watched a YouTube video on that. So I mean, but I made all these little assets. So I did make it. And then the intro bit, that's kind of the classic television thing. That was a transition that I got off of Adobe stock from my Adobe stock account. So I don't like to take credit where I didn't make it, but I did assemble it. I did have a vision for what it would look like. So, I did make something. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. It's whatever it is. The old fade to black. And here we go. Okay. So, yeah, I haven't quite gotten that down. I should have a longer fade. Well, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. So, let's see here. I'll go ahead and get started here. Yeah, so as I mentioned, I don't know if anybody saw when I mentioned this earlier. I was doing... I got to use a font today that I purchased. The font name, I believe, it's sort of tough to tell. This is a font. I talked about this a couple times on the show because the font that I've been following for years and years finally got released. And it's weird that the Foundry sort of has a weird way of doing things, so it's tough for me to actually tell what the name of the font is, but I believe it's BT Super. The name of the Foundry is Burn Type. So if you look up Burn Type Foundry or Burn Type Font Foundry, you'll find them. And they have a number of different fonts, many of which I'm probably going to end up buying. But I've had this one. I followed it for years because I saw the creator, the designer, whatever the term is supposed to be for font makers. I think it's designer. It's probably designer because you do design the font. In any event, I followed this font for, I think, 6 or 7 years because I remember I saw the user have. I don't actually remember where I first saw it. I sort of came across it somehow accidentally. I really don't know how. Probably somebody posted the. Oh, you know what? I know where it was. Before there was really, because now Pinterest has Pinterest boards or whatever they call those things where people put all their images up on Pinterest. They have a name for it. I don't think it's pinned boards. I think it's not mood boards. Mood board is something else. I think that's sort of a younger people's thing. So I don't really know what mood boards are, or I don't really get it. A mood board is something. But anyway, before that, there's Pinterest was kind of this idea that you pinned images to some kind of wall. But this was even prior to that. This is before Pinterest became a big thing. And you would have websites that were basically like Tumblr blogs or whatever they were using. I don't know if it was Tumblr or not. And I still follow some of them. That mostly there's one that I follow that's a lot of mech stuff, anime mech stuff, Japanese robots, super robots, robot suits, that kind of stuff. And then there were other ones. There's other ones that I have that were more for just, plain designers. Not plain designers, but, for basic design or generalized. I shouldn't say basic. It's actually the opposite. It's like more broad spectrum design. And somebody posted this really, really awesome looking kind of 1970s, 1980s science fiction font. And it was this very distinctive font. But, the problem with when you get into fonts that are highly, I don't know what the word for it would be, when they're really, really stylized, that does somewhat limit what you can use them for because you have to have a specific use. Otherwise, so you see these fonts that are really wild and very graphical and arty, and they're really, some of them are really big, or they're very, very, a lot of graffiti ones are a good example. You're not going to just knock out a graffiti font for just any project. You need something where you want that hand-drawn kind of marker feel, or you want it to come off as a graffiti-based thing. Like there's a certain feel to very artistic fonts that you have to have the right use for. So anyway, I saw this font and I really liked it because it looked like kind of what you would expect out of a 1972 or 76 airlock font, very thick and industrial looking, great looking font. And I could never, the person making it was constantly in the process of making it. And that's not uncommon. Fonts take, particularly fonts that are highly stylized, because it's I don't want to say it's easy. I'm not going to call font design easy because I've been trying to make a font for like 6 years. It's not easy. But there are easier ways to pursue it. You can take a font that is fairly well known or a standard font and you can modify it. You could kind of sand the edges off or take the serifs off it. The little, I don't like serifs, by the way. I'm not a serif guy. Do not like that in fonts. I like sans serif fonts. I like clean edges. I don't like the whole, ancient Roman, whatever, little tails on the letter. I don't need any of that stuff. I like clean, harsh lines. So, in any event, you could take something, and let's say you saw like Times New Roman, right? Classic example. Not a very, very classic font. And you like Times New Roman, but you wanted to, I don't know, add dots to it. You wanted to have all the letters would have dots. So you could modify Times New Roman just enough, add the dots, and you could release it as a font. You could call it, Dots New Roman or Times New Dots, whatever it is. And, that is an easier way of doing font design because you're taking the framework of something and you're modifying it, So that's generally, depending on the level of modification. So I don't want to say it's all simple. It's not. But depending on what you're trying to do and how much you're trying to change it, it tends to be easier than doing a font from scratch. That's going to be tougher. So I understood why this individual was taking the time with it, because font design, when you're doing it, and this is, it's hard to describe. It's a very specific kind of font. And you have to, there's kerning, you have to, because not everything is geometric, which is one thing that bugs me about fonts, in a philosophical way, not in the way of the actual fonts, but there's actual mathematic spacing, and then there's what the eye prefers to see. So kerning is the adjustment of spacing and by the way, I'm not saying this with any real authority, but it's just from what I know of it. So kerning is something that sometimes you have to adjust even in the face of logic. So you can have, what is there in the alphabet? 26 letters? I'm not going to count them, but I think it's 26. Whatever it is, this is how little I know. however many letters, let's say there's 26 letters in the alphabet. You make a font that you want to be geometrically evenly spaced, right? So you want every, what are, the individual letters I think are called glyphs. But well, whatever, we'll just call them letters. You want the individual letters to all be, oh no. Yeah, he's going to show up now. You can be sure he's going to come from that left side of the screen. Maybe not, maybe it'll be the right, but I have a feeling it'll be the left. I always think it's going to be, there he is. Yeah, I always think it's the left. And this time I'm right. So anyway, you can have the individual letters and you could say, okay, I want each of those letters to have a 5-pixel spacing. Let's just call it, we'll just pick a nice, easy to visualize number. So you want the spacing between each letter in a sentence to be 5 pixels. You wouldn't actually want it that way, but let's just say it for the sake of argument, right? So that's your goal. You could have it where, let's say 24 out of those 26 letters at a 5-pixel spacing looks great. They look great. That's exactly what you want. And then you get to those last 2 letters and they just don't look right. The spacing looks uneven, even though in whatever program you're using or however you're using to measure it, you can see that they are in fact spaced 5 pixels apart. Well, that's because sometimes what the eye perceives is not what is actually there. And some of that is because certain letters have uneven shapes, and therefore the way they lay out in certain words or certain sentences just doesn't look right. For example, Y, because Y has a very wide top end and it has a very slim base. So that can look very strange. I'm trying to think of another letter that's... Y is usually the one that trips me up. V sort of, but V has a more gradual taper. So I feel like V escapes the problems that Y gets wrapped up in, because Y has that really... most, depending on your letter, obviously you can stylize a Y. But a Y generally, traditionally, kind of has a 50-50 split, right? So it's like the bottom 50% of a Y is an I. It's just a straight line, right? If we're talking about capitals and block letters, we can get a script. Script is a mess, so forget script. But, so traditionally, the bottom 50% is pretty simple straight line. And then the top half is essentially a squashed V. It's the V form, but it's compressed. So you're basically taking a V and you're compressing it at 50% height, and then you're putting a line underneath it. That is a fundamentally unbalanced form. It doesn't quite... it's sort of goony that it's even a letter. Pardon me, I don't know what just caught my throat. Sorry. But, so that's one where a lot of times you have to kind of correct for stuff like that. There are other letters. I know I'm forgetting another big one that I should be... No, J, it's not J. No, it's not K. K's pretty... Well, it depends again on what you're doing with a K. But K's are generally not that bad. They're not that tricky. Y is the one that I think... Oh, did I come from here or was I heading here? Let's see. Oh, man. Are you kidding me? There's got moving ones. Hey. So anyway, this is going to be a 40-minute story about one font. Of course it is. How could it not be? I'm telling it. So anyway, yeah, that's what I mean about I don't really... I don't begrudge somebody that's creating a font from scratch that they might take years to try to figure out, especially because I know how I am about things, and I assume that other artists of different types are equally crazy about certain things, or let's say perfectionist about certain things, or specific, or what's the word? Not specific, detail-oriented. There's a great term, detail-oriented. Has a specific goal in mind. And so I didn't really mind. I was just more of like the bigger thing that I was kind of hoping was he wouldn't just give up on it. He or she. I actually don't know if the designer is male, female, what. I have no idea. Oh, I was not going there, obviously. So that was more of my concern about it. Okay, I don't mind waiting. I'll wait for something. That's perfectly fine, especially when it's something that I think is coming out well. The bigger problem is, okay, in the course of 5, 6, 7 years... things can change radically in a person's life. And so something that at one time was a high priority, say making a font, oh, I got the sub, woo, may suddenly become a radically lower priority because of, I don't know, whatever. There's a million things that could happen where you go, you know what, maybe making this font is not the most important thing to me anymore. So that was more where the delay was kind of concerning to me, where I'm like, I don't know if this thing's going to get made. Even if it is, and it could be as simple as I cannot reconcile my problem with what's going on with this font. I wanted to do this, and I've had this with stuff, with certain, not with fonts or anything like that, but in other words, with artwork, where I'll sit there and go, I can't make this element work. Just can't make it work. It just will not work. And rather than try to force it to work or compromise the rest of the piece for it, oh, jeez, man. You know I'm going to get slammed with moving jellyfish here, right? Really? Nope. Okay. Well, if there's no moving jellyfish, then I expect Jaws to show up any minute. I really can't imagine I'm going to get away with a semi-normal shallow thing at this point. Maybe I'll be lucky. So yeah, there have been times where I've given up on something because I just can't figure out how to make it work. And rather than make something that I'm going to hate, although I've done that with painting recently because my wife and I have been painting, and there have been paintings where, I mean, I just paint over them, so I shouldn't say it like I actually live with it. I just ended up painting over them. There have been paintings where I hated what it was happening, so, and I've tried to overpaint and it just doesn't work, especially with oil. You end up just creating blobs. Oh, geez, a bonus scene? I don't care. I'm ready to kill Jaws now. So that was my bigger concern with this font was, okay, there's going to be a point where it's just going to stop. There's going to be no more development. And there was a space of maybe, I'm going to say 6 months, where I didn't see any new information on it. Nothing, no postings, no anything. And I thought, okay, that's it. You know, it's over with. You know, the person has either given up or whatever, something happened. And then it picked up again. And it seemed like it was maybe going to come out. And then it did. And then it came out. I think I bought it. It was during the pandemic, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so within the last couple of years, I actually bought the thing. Bought the license for every single version of it that there was. You know, I knew I was buying that one no matter what. I mean, obviously, if it cost 20 grand, I wasn't going to buy it. But most fonts don't get that high. And not unless it's, you know, some limited edition NFT nonsense. But this was not that. So I bought it. I finally got to... And I actually got to use it today. I mean, I've had it. I could have used it for stuff, but again, when you're talking about a very particular font that has a highly stylized forms, you can't just use it for anything. You know, you don't just use it for normal stuff. You want to save it for a point where it kind of emphasizes something. So I was one of the individuals that I follow over on Twitter had made a joke about something to do with 5G and apparently one of the companies, I think it was Samsung at one of these, you know, Samsung is notorious for having these gonzo, you know, press conferences and events and stuff where they do things that are just bafflingly weird, sometimes to hilarious effect and sometimes to embarrassing effect. And so they had said something, they had said that because of their 5G, we were going to be a gigabit society. They used that term, gigabit society. And it was Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile, and he had posted this kind of quickly, and actually I recognized, I'm pretty sure he was using the Blade Runner font. There's a fairly well-known, you know, you can get it for free, Blade Runner font that you'll see it a lot. You've likely seen it in many places because a lot of people use it. It's one of those fonts that just pops up everywhere because it's so stylized. And it's basically the Blade Runner font. I think it's actually called, it may not be called Blade Runner, but I think it is something like that. I have it, of course. Everybody has it. It's one of those things that, of course, you have it. If you collect fonts in any type of way, you have the Blade Runner font because who knows, you might need it. But in any event, he had posted this kind of T-shirt mock-up that had a picture of a radio Oh, jeez. All right, Jaws, I'm ready for you, buddy. Come on, bring on the big man. Let's have him, or whatever Jaws is. I don't remember. I never did get an answer on what Jaws is supposed to be, gender-wise in the first movie. I mean, they called it Bruce, so, you know, we can infer some things, but maybe we can't. I don't know. That may have been a joke. That may have been, at the time, a play on the fact that it was a female shark, and I don't know. How do I know? I'm sure somewhere in history there has been someone who identifies as female that has the name Bruce. What do I know? Names are stupid anyway, honestly. They're just ways of us being able to see who each other are and, you know, call somebody and have them recognize you in a crowd. But the fact that so many names are overused tells you how nonsensical that concept even is. Anyway, back to the font, because I'm getting lost in my own sub-narratives now. So I bought the font, and I've had it. You know, I've opened it up, and this is such a particular thing, but anybody who's into fonts will know this. I've opened the font up and kind of just typed things out with it in Photoshop, but never used it because I didn't know what I was going to use it for. But then when I saw this 5 gigabyte society thing, I thought, okay, this is like a hippy dippy kind of tech bro concept. And so I did a fast Photoshop. I did it pretty quick, actually. I mean, it was just concentric circles and a couple of lines, so I shouldn't say it looks like it was impressive. It isn't. Somebody I'm sure could have done it in 3 minutes. That's really good at it. But in any event, I did this thing where I made a parabola. Is that how you're supposed to say it? Parabola? I think that's how you say it, right? And the dish part of a radio telescope dish. That's what I made. And I used this font for it. And I posted it on Twitter, so you can actually see it on my Twitter feed. If you go look at it, it's there. I posted it both mocked up on the shirt and just by itself. And I was able to use the Super. It's BT Super. It was let's see. I believe I used this. There's a 70 and an 80 weight. One of them is extremely hard to read. Very cool looking, but very hard to read. I think 80 is the hard one to read, and I think 70 is the easier one. And I used the easier one to read on it. And I was like, hey, there, I got to use it. I got to use it nice little, in a way that actually thematically and graphically looked good. So it was fun. Yeah, so I got to use a font. I got to finally employ a font that I waited something like 6 years to buy, bought 2 years ago, and used in what is sadly the most common fashion for me to make anything, which is a joke post on the internet. But hey, whatever, I got to use the font, and it looked beautiful, so I really don't care. The font is just fantastic. So yeah, that's a strange story to tell, but that is what I've got, which is that I mean, I could talk about fonts. I could talk about more fonts. I've mentioned the website futurefonts.xyz, which is a great whatever to have. I was just looking at fonts on there. I mean, I look at that font I look at that. There we go. I look at that site every week. Every week I go there, trying to figure out what font I'm going to buy. Because I could buy I could buy a font every week. I mean, I don't, unfortunately, a lot of the fonts that I want to buy, I can't afford. Like the House Industry fonts. Oh boy, those are pricey fonts. Nice fonts. The Coupe font is from House Industries. But expensive. I mean, the House Industry fonts are expensive, but they do make good fonts. So I'm not going to say it's not worth it. What's the other one? There's House Industries. Blambot is pretty reasonable. If you're looking, they're a lot more on comic book kind of lettering and sound effects, but they have general fonts too. I shouldn't say it like it's all comics. It's not. That's not fair. Come on, Jaws, you and me, buddy. Here we go. So Blambot's another one, and there's one I'm forgetting. What am I forgetting? XYZ, House Industries. The burn type fonts. I have to actually get more from that place because I think they make good fonts. You're done. Done! Oh, I meant, what? Really? Okay. Whatever. So, yeah, Blambot I've gotten a bunch from. I mean, there's the free font sites too, but you gotta be, I don't know. I guess you don't have to be. It just depends on your level of, what's the word for it? Integrity, I guess, when it comes to around fonts. Because some of those are clearly actual commercial fonts that somebody has, I don't know, ripped or whatever. Really? Jeez. Huh. You know what? I think I must have let him get, he must have gotten too close. I must have had the spacing wrong, because that's unusual. I usually nail him on one of those three when I've got him. I had him lined up. It wasn't a lineup thing. I had him lined. So I know I didn't have any problem with the actual lineup. Huh. Interesting. So, yeah, anyway. But yeah, Future Fonts is a good one because that's basically a Kickstarter for fonts, which I actually really like because I think that's that is a way for people to, because like I said, this stuff does take, one of the fonts I got on there, I think the final version only came out this year, and I bought that font years ago for dirt cheap. Now it's far more expensive. It's something in the range of $300 now. But that's how it took years for that individual to add, because you have to remember, it's not just the forms. It's also weights, it's special characters, italicized. I mean, there's lots to it. Okay, here. That's it. Got him. I was gonna say it's gotta be a range thing. Yeah, got him. So yeah, I like the idea of supporting fonts, even at a basic, even if I only ever get the one weight, which I don't think any of those have ever just been one weight. The Future Fonts ones, as far as I know, have all, and a lot of those now they're building in variable fonts, which honestly, it's one of those things I understand the concept of, but I don't really use it. I don't really do much with variable fonts, but I understand, I get the importance of it. I can respect what it is, but and you know what? I should actually take the time to figure out variable fonts, because I know there's situations where variable fonts would be helpful for things that I'm having spacing problems with. So I really should stop being stupid and actually learn what the variable fonts do. I just haven't done it yet, but many of those offer them. So You know, House Industries, that's more of a kind of premium font. You know, that's a well-known name. That's not a small-time thing. You go into House Industries, you're going to pay some money. Now, don't get me wrong, you're going to get top... well, I'm not going to slam anybody's font. Whatever. It's all an aesthetic thing, and it's what you like, so I shouldn't say anything. But House Industries, I have found that with their stuff, it's probably about a 30-70 ratio. 30% of their stuff that I like and 70% I don't. And that might be because a lot of it's serif and kind of classic font stuff, and I'm not so much into that. I like kind of the cleaner, more sci-fi, weirder stuff. So that could be why my response rate to their output is less than universal, I guess. Whatever. Hey, right off the bat. But anyway, yeah, fonts are fun. I love fonts. I mean, I have... Oh, really? Right... Well, what do I care? I just started. Who cares? I lost one shell. But that was a BS thing. I mean, come on. Jaws comes out of nowhere. Yeah, right away. Jaws is there. That's a cheap shot. That's the game being... Oh, come on. Really? I mean, that's ridiculous that he's on me this quick. If he shows up now, whatever. It doesn't. Who cares? I already beat you, Jaws, so what's the difference? You're not going to win. I won. Get crab here so I can get some speed up. Where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. Whoa. Where'd that crab? I must have shot one off screen. Looked like it just came from off screen, didn't it? So, yeah, I have basically 5 copies of the same fonts folder because I've collected so many fonts at this point that I don't want to lose them. I want to be able to put them on. So I have a local copy on the machine. I have a cloud copy. I have another local copy on another machine. And I have 2 copies on 2 different hard drives. So every about 2 months, I have to sync all these things up, which is... It's more of a annoyance than it is a difficulty. It's literally just hooking all these things up and telling them to sync. It's nothing. It really is. Oh, really? I can't afford that even yet? So it's not like it's difficult. It's just kind of hilarious, the degree to which I have to go to make sure that my fonts are preserved. I mean, it's so ridiculous. But I also, but I'm also the person who's opening up my font library every so often and just looking at it. And the only thing, you know what? I have to figure out if there is a really good way. One thing that I don't think you can do this. I will really have to... This is something... Here's another thing I can't believe I haven't really taken the time to learn before now, is whether you can really segment fonts in a logical way. Because I don't think you... Especially on... I don't know about the Mac. The Mac handles fonts a little differently. But I think in some ways a lot better than Windows. I have to be fair about it. I think Mac does a better job at organizing and importing and checking fonts than Windows does. But I don't know if either of them allows you to break things up into kind of logical groupings. Like, okay, this is a horror font, so I'll put it in a horror folder. I mean, I could literally put them into folders, but I don't know if the system inherently recognizes that or makes that easy. Because that's about the only problem I have is, it's great to have 10,000 fonts at your disposal. Not so great when you can't remember which ones do what, and you're scrolling through them in Photoshop and watching your RAM fall through the floor because you're loading 50,000 fonts. So it would be nice to be... I mean, I know there are libraries that you can do in Adobe, but I never like to... I don't like to rely on any type of cloud-based anything for stuff, so I'd rather have some kind of local way of doing it that would still work. So I gotta look at that. Because, yeah, sometimes it's annoying when I know in my head what type of font or fonts that I want to use, and I can't just go to a folder that says, okay, handwriting. Because if you look on font sites, that's how they're organized. You go to a font site and you look for, the genre or whatever they call it, and like handwriting is there, horror is there, sci-fi is there. You can even break it down even further and get into kind of there are subgenres within those. So within handwriting, you could have pen and ink and marker and brush paint, or the sign painting, all that kind of stuff, which is great. That's great. But I don't know if there's a way to do that on an actual, system, on your actual system in an easy way outside of using something like Adobe Libraries or whatever they're calling it now. But I think it's still called libraries or collections, whatever it is. So that would be nice. I mean, it'd be really great if I could just think of the font and it appeared on my screen. But of course, that's jumping about 15 years ahead in personal computing. Maybe not even. I don't even know if it's going to be that long before we can think something and have a little device, much like a mouse that you attach to your head. Oh, really? Jeez, man. This game is so randomly stupid at times. It's baffling how it makes its logic decisions. Like, what? I don't even have the tracker yet, man. Let me get the tracker. For all I know, Jaws is about to come in and, you know, eat me up. So can I get the tracker at least before you start slamming me with these shallow water bombardments of... I mean, at least there's not moving jellyfish, but honestly, they may not be that far off. I am curious, I don't know this, if the moving jellyfish come about because of a power level, or is it once you hit a certain number of encounters? Because at different times, it feels like it's different things. Oh, what? Bonus scene, I'm guessing here, right? Okay, let's see. Bonus scene? No? Plane? No? No, no plane. Okay, no bonus scene on that one, I guess. See, I have to find out if you can do that kind of logical arrangement. I would hope so. Or thematic arrangement might be a better term. There we go. Finally, I got a receiver. Jeez. Feels like I've been playing this game for 40 minutes already, and I just got the tracker. They call it a receiver? They call it the receiver, right? I can track Jaws using the receiver. So the receiver, sorry, not the tracker. Even though, well, I mean a tracker. Yeah, it is a tracker, and I do have the receiver. But I would have had to get the tracker too, so you could have used either term. So yeah, it's fun. I you know, and Behance also has a lot of people who do fonts, although a lot of time. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. I was about to say a lot of times those are ones you have to go somewhere else to buy, but that's not really true. A lot of them actually do allow downloads. And I got our show site. Our show font came from Behance, actually, from just an independent font maker who I contacted directly and paid. I don't think he works for any type of foundry or anything. That's just somebody who did something, and I really liked the font because it was very, what's the word for it? Very symmetrical and you know, geometric and harsh, very brutalist. And I love that. So I basically just reached out and said, hey, I will pay you for this. How much do you want for me to be able to use this font? And that was awesome because, you know, we're not going to be selling $10,000 worth of merchandise or anything, because then you have to do kind of a different type of licensing for it. And he came back and said $50. I said, I'll give you $100 because it's a great font. And I don't mind paying a little bit extra, especially for a great font. So that's, and I don't perceive us I don't think Lando will ever care if I change the font or what I use. I doubt it. But I don't really, that's one of those fonts where it's kind of, yeah, I don't see any reason that I would ever change that font. It's just too good. It's got that perfect symmetrical O, and the Z and the N all look right. They're nice and balanced. They all look even. I don't know how else to put it. It's just, delightful. I love it when fonts work well. I like when fonts feel cohesive, because sometimes fonts don't. Sometimes even big-time professional fonts do not feel like they are actually related. The letters don't feel related to each other. So anytime that I get a font and the thing feels universal, I'm very thrilled. Feels thematically cohesive. I like that. I enjoy that about fonts. When they're done well. When they're done terribly, they're done terribly, and there's nothing you can do about it. Unless you're the actual font designer, and then you can do something about it. But if you designed it that way, I'm guessing you're not going to do anything about it because you designed it that way. All right, so let's see. Man. I get, you know, it's fun. There are times in this game where I can feel why it has the reputation it does. But then I sit there and go, well, this game has so little to it. Of course you have to keep having these random encounters. There's nothing else to do. I mean, I want to get to the mini-sub, but that's me. So the game doesn't have any... The game's incentive is not to let me get to the mini-sub fast because the game's over quicker, because that mini-sub is superpowered. So of course they don't want me getting the mini-sub fast, because, you know, even at low power I can knock Jaws. And you know what? I should try to knock Jaws down at level 2. Level 2 might be way too much thumb spamming. Maybe I'll do level 3. But it's almost too easy at 5. It really is. It doesn't really take much effort to even get him down. Which I shouldn't complain about that, but yeah. It's true. Woo! That was the one, well, outside of Jaws, who killed me in this game, which I almost forgot about. It happened so fast. Which was nonsense, because he really shouldn't have caught me coming straight out of the port. I mean, that's just unfair. That's just not being very sportsmanlike, Jaws. Well, I'm going to have 300 shells, too, so what's the difference? I wonder... I think these things have set timers. I've never actually tried to time them to see how long they are. But I'm guessing it's about 3 minutes. Let me look at the clock really quick. Okay. I mean, I'm a little off because I didn't look as soon as it happened. But I'm guessing that these things don't go for more than 3 minutes. Outside of... I don't know if Jaws is... I don't know if the presence of Jaws... Because I don't know how you're supposed to say plural Jaws. Jaws is presence. So I'll say the presence of Jaws. I don't know if the presence of Jaws... Which sounds like some kind of religious thing. The presence of Jaws. I don't know if it... Oh, no, it wasn't. No, it may not have even been... It might have been 60 seconds. Was that only 60 seconds? No, I want the sub, though. I want the sub, Jaws. I don't mind... It's like the game does it on purpose, I tell you. Maybe it does. I don't know. It's okay. So, all right. Yeah, maybe... Is it not even... Why do these feel so much longer than a minute? That was only a minute. Unless they're different times. Interesting. That it would only be... No, I'm looking at the thing. Okay, no. I'm watching it. I want to see. Oh, there he is. There's the big cowabunga. Hey, buddy. I'm going to shoot you in the butt. Now I'm going to shoot you in the face. I'm going to shoot you where you don't have teeth. I almost just ran right into his tail, and that would have killed me just as surely as his teeth would have in this game. Let me think about this. Do we have moving jellyfish? I don't think so. I think this is static jellyfish. So, yeah, see how long it takes with this thing, huh? Because I can only fire so many rounds. It's not even really the power with this thing. It's how long it takes to shoot them. That's really why the low power thing is tougher. Now, with the mini sub, higher firing rate, not as annoying. Because I'm chipping away. You can see it. I'm chipping away at them. So it's not terrible. It's just not as quick as with the mini sub. And I don't know if the actual cannonballs... I don't know that they make any big difference. Okay, so it's coming up to about a minute, I'm going to say right now. So I want to see if this thing ends soon. Because it's about a minute. We're right at about... Oh, that's probably a bonus scene, which I don't care about. See, now, this is another thing I'm not sure about. Is if I don't get the bonus scene... Okay, I took a risk doing that, but... Will it go to a bonus scene? Okay, it did. So I'm curious if I hadn't taken the bonus scene... I don't even care. I've got 40 shells. I don't need this many shells, guys. If it would have kept going until I got a bonus scene, because I feel like it does that. I feel like it will actually make you get a bonus scene. You just have to keep killing the little sharks. Which might have worked for me, because I probably could have chipped Jaws down more if I hadn't killed that little thing. But I have a feeling it will eventually end, because, you know, it's got to have some kind of timer. It must. I don't... I might attempt to get one more power. I might go to 3, because I'm at 2. But I don't think I'm going to go past that. I want to see what it's like to just go after him. Just hit him. Hit him hard. But, where was I going with what I was rambling about? I don't even remember what I was rambling about. Something about fonts. Oh, opening fonts. Yeah, to do the logical thing and then the storage of them. But yeah, fonts are fun. They're fun. You know? And they have, you know, oh, man, look at that, huh? Right around him to get level 3. All right, we're going to get him out in the deep water, if possible. Get him out in the deeper water, and let's get at him. Oh, well, okay, he might show. You cheated me out of the boat thing there, though, guys. Designers of this game. Kind of screwed me a little bit there. Oh, I got some mana rays coming in. Yeah, because at this point... Oh, yeah, because his power will come all the way back. See, that's where... It would have been nice to hit him with the ship, because I could have done some decent damage. Not that it matters. I don't think he's got long to go. He's going to be mine very shortly. Because I'm fairly confident that even at power level, it might just take a few more... It's going to take a minute or two to get him into the actual, you know, whatever the final conflict is termed. But let's see. Am I going to get a bonus scene out of this? No? Okay. That's fine with me. I actually just want to fight Jaws at this point. So I would prefer not to get a bonus scene. Which now, watch, there'll be a bonus scene. Okay. So I'm just going to wait. Let him come to me. This way, I can't hit anything if I don't move, I think. And that way I can hit him with the boat. All right, here we go with the boat. Where's he coming from? Yep, that side. Wow. Jeez, I really rapid-fired for some reason that time. The boat usually doesn't fire that fast. I don't know why. I didn't do anything special. But jeez, boat seemed to really be shooting at him that time. I mean, it was firing. What? Jeez, I don't know why it's firing so quick. It's almost like the game is sped... It's probably a glitch. It's probably just the game is sometimes... Whoa, jeez. Man, I was unloading on him. Yeah, that's not normal. So I think the game feels like it just sped up, which I sort of remember that now that I think about it. I sort of remember that as a kid that the game might random... I mean, they all slowed down. Don't worry, you know, Nintendo games famously would slow down. But the speed up thing is kind of interesting. Because I do sort of remember that where the ship on the overworld map would suddenly start going really fast. Just unload into him. Come on, buddy. Come on, come on. Yeah, jeez, that thing is flying. And it's only doing it with the cannonballs. The regular shots... No, the regular shots aren't doing it. Those are normal speed. So, yeah, there's something specific with the cannonball. Interesting. Haven't run into that before. I mean, not since I've been doing this. This is a new one, kind of. Yeah, the cannonballs are firing really, really rapidly. It's really interesting. Oh, no! Hey! No, I want it. I didn't want to stop fighting him. Where is he? There he is. There we go. There we go. That's it. That's it. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Jaws. I'm going to go under you. Yeah, Jaws. That's it. Yeah, man, the cannonballs. What's going on with those? I'm not complaining, really. It's just sort of crazy because look at that. Look at this. That's not normal. That does not normally... Uh-oh, little shark. That does not normally happen like that. I might be able to get him. I mean, that helps me because it does take me longer at level 3 to shoot him, but that's unusual. That is not a normal thing. Come on, 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 come on. Go up. See if I can fire into him. All right, he should be mine now. Woo! Come on, come on, come on. Come on, get him. A fun way to end this particular stream with rapid... Oh, I hit the button? I didn't realize I hit the button. Okay. I think it's being a little iffy here. Oop. Ah! Just missed. All right, let's get him. Let's get him. Yeah, I don't... Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, Arrow. I don't remember that. I don't remember bumping the strobe button, but apparently the game is claiming I did. So, all right, let's see. Where's he going to end up? Where's he going to end up? Nope. We'll wait. We can be patient. After all, we are a boat that is somehow able to sail left and right, but not go straight or back. So, I will take my time here. Oh. Is he going to dart again? Got him. Oh, dead center. My favorite hit. Right in the center. That's great. Well, there we have it. Jaws, once again, laid low by a ship that can only go left or right, thanks to a strobe thing that we never actually attached to him, which would seem like a almost kind of mid-boss encounter, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Once again, I have come out on top. Ship flies off into what would be a disturbingly orange... I guess not. The water looks awfully polluted, and the sky looks like a volcano just went off, but that's okay, because we have palm trees and some purple drop shadows on the end. So all is in fact well, and another stream ends with me victorious over a large pixelated shark, in which I rambled about fonts for about 43 minutes. So all in all, a successful stream as a good way, I guess, to wrap up your Tuesday night. So everybody have a wonderful Tuesday. Jaws has been killed twice. That's a good day's work for a Tuesday night. And I might do an art stream on Thursday. We shall see. If that's the case, I will talk to you all then. Otherwise, I don't know. I have nothing else to say. Have a nice Tuesday night. And we will talk to you later. I will switch now to my Be Right Back screen. There we go, which is my traditional saying goodbye to everybody thing. Everybody have a good night. And we'll see you again next time. Good night, everybody.